Hey YouTube, welcome back to Unix TCG, and today we will be touching upon the last new leader for Set 2 Blazing Aura for Dragon Ball Super Fusion World. Thank you guys for the support that you've shown the previous archetype breakdowns. We have so much to go over in the future. As per usual, like the trend we've been doing, we will have the archetype breakdown on this channel, but then for my own personal list that I'm grinding with currently, that I'm testing with currently, that I could be taking to one of 3 regionals coming up the next 2 months, you can find that on my Patreon for just being in the Galactic Patrol tier or higher. So that's pretty cool. Over there I have different amounts of footage, actual deck lists, and as I evolve them, you'll get updates for each one there. So just to give you a quick roadmap right as we go into this, we're doing Zamasu today. After today, tomorrow, we will have a video about how to win your sealed. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. And then starting next week, we're going to start revisiting Set 1 leaders. We'll have a poll over the weekend so you guys can decide which one you want to see, and we will jump right into this. So without further ado, since Blue had the largest gap to close, it has kind of the most cards to kind of look into. So we are going to jump right into that. So let's set this goal for another 100 likes or more, and let's start. So first and foremost, we are going to start with the leader, Zamasu. He is a when attacking draw 1 card leader, and he awakens at 3, much like Son Goku that we just talked about yesterday. However, this guy has a bit of a different effect. Going over to his backside, you have a base 25k, which is, as we all know, a very crucial number when it comes to Broly in Set 1. But activate main once per turn. 1, discard 1 card from your hand, and if your life is at 2 or less, add the top card of your deck to your life. This is going to give Zamasu a longevity that most leaders do not have. With his 25k base body plus his ability to heal, he's just going to be a very sticky leader. I personally feel that Zamasu works best just using the leader as a draw engine and letting all of your bodies, your battle cards, and your extra cards doing the work in order to just have a blue, very slow control grinder kind of deck. And then when he finally is forced to flip over, he's harder to kill due to his 25k base, and he's going to be able to keep healing life. And that healing life, much like in One Piece, is essentially another draw, as long as you don't get it crit out of your life, because you're putting a card from the top of your deck to your life. Eventually they're going to damage you, giving you that card back. So let's go into so many of the tools that Zamasu has at disposal. You got this new Zamasu, 1 cost, 5k, 5 combo power, permanent. If you have a Goku Black battle card, this card can't be KO'd, and then on play, he's a top 5 searcher for a Goku Black. So I kind of like this. You're going to be able to play this guy and then search for a Goku Black, and that Goku Black will then be able to be played the next turn, the turn after that, and then or the same turn depending on how much energy you have, and then this guy cannot be KO'd. Note that this only protects from KO. That is both by effect and by battle, but he can be bounced, tucked, or -0 by red, and he still ends up ending up in the drop. So yeah, it's not great, but it's not bad. But it does require something else on the board, so a little too convoluted for my taste. Next, we got one of the SRs. This is a 2 cost, 20k, 5k common power Zamasu. Permanent, this card can't be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills. And then when attacking, discard 1 card from your hand, draw 1 card. This is just filter, and this is the classic makings of a control deck. A card that's going to allow you to get rid of the worst card in your hand, draw a hopefully better card. Now, that exchange is not really mechanically ideal. It would be so much better if he drew a card and then you could choose what your worst card was. But hey, beggars can't always be choosers. This is just a card that's going to let you filter through your deck at an accelerated speed. Now we've got a Goku Black. This is a 3 cost, 20k, 10k combo power. When attacking, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and play up to 1 Zamasu at the cost of 1. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck in a random order. I'm going to tell you right now, whether it be this deck or Goku Black, I do not really support this card. You have to have such a saturation of 1-drop Zamasus to the point where your deck is just full of cards that don't really do anything besides get an on-play effect or become blockers or pretend they can't be sent to the drop but get sent to the drop in many different ways. And it's just a little rough. And on top of that, you're only searching top 3. On top of that, since a lot of your crucial cards aren't Zamasus, you're bottom decking so much. You're bottom decking your extras, you're bottom decking your super combos, you're bottom decking the SCR if you play it, you're bottom decking quite a few cards that we're going to talk about in this video that are just really good. So that's rough. Next, you got a Goku Black, 4K, 30k power, 5k combo power. When attacking, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards at the cost of 2 or less and place it at the bottom of your owner's deck. This card is good, but I do think it finds its best home in Goku Black. So we will definitely be returning to this card in a future video, next week probably. But yeah, this card is definitely got a lot of stats on it. 30k is very, very strong. And then on top of a 30k body, it's going to be able to at least get rid of your opponent's medium swingers. You guys should already know there's a lot in the 2 cost department that does a lot. You've got your hits, you know, you've got your new Cauliflas, you have so many cards. There's a Vegito in here, there's like, yeah, there's a lot. Yellow has a bunch of good 2-drops. There's just a lot of cards this is gonna bottom deck. Now we're back to look at another SR. It's a 4-cost 25k, 5k combo power Zamasu. When attacking, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, draw 1 card, and then when KO'd, play this card from your drop in rest mode. Then you can't play Zamasu Fuse for the turn. This is a fairly good card against red because they have a mixture of destruction and minusing. Yellow is gonna have to proc this and then kill it again, you know, KO it again. Blue just kind of can get around this in multiple ways that are unfortunate for this card. And then you have green, which has no choice but to once again walk through both of these effects most times. There are some new cards in set 2, but for the most part, that's kind of the issue. So yeah, good card though. It offers itself as a draw engine. If you're at 7, you can always attack with this guy to take yourself from 7 to 8 cards in hand, and then attack with your leader to go from 8 to 9 to give yourself a little padding going into the following turn. Speaking of Zamasus though, you do have this 5-cost 30k 0 combo Zamasu, and this is just kind of a weird thing because we've talked about this in the other video revealing the blue cards. You really do just have this when KO'd and you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, play up to 1 Zamasu Fuse at a cost of 6 or less from your hand. I don't really like this. I think that if you're running the Beerus card to KO your own cards, you can kind of get this off, but otherwise there's so many hoops you have to jump through. It can't be bounced, it can't be bottom decked, and it can't be minus to 0. And then if your opponent manages to blow it up before you can reach the threshold, or you know, maybe they start attacking your life and eventually you take something and then they're like, oh, what are you at? 8 cards in hand? Okay, I'm gonna swing on Zamasu now, and you have to defend it, go out of your way to defend it. I think that this is just a weird card and it puts too much of the power in your opponent's hands and it's just not sticky at all. So yeah, no. And then we're going to move over to the Fuse Zamasu, the merge, the Fuse Zamasu where he's like the universe. 6 cost 40k, 5k combo power, critical, auto, when your opponent outplays you, you get outplayed. No, but seriously, auto once per turn, when your opponent plays a battle card, if your life is at 1, choose all of your opponent's battle cards returned to their owner's hand. It's just not good. I normally try to see the bright side for cards. At the end of the day, your opponent can literally play a 1-drop draw and force all their cards back to their hand and then start playing what they really wanted to play. You do force your opponent to be off curve, but this card is so easy to trigger. It's not an optional, it's a mandatory, and so yeah, it's just not, that's not it. We got a Shin Searcher. Nothing too big about it. It's just going to be able to search up your your Pataras, and right now it looks like every merge Zamasu's Patara as well as the Vegito cards that we're going to get into momentarily. And speaking of momentarily, it's actually just now. So you have the first Vegito. It's just a 2-cost 20k 0 combo power. When KO'd, you can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards that cost 2 or less, place at the bottom of the deck. I do love that it is a bottom deck, but I don't love the fact that it has to be KO'd. Once again, 2-cost 20k power, that's prime real estate for being bounced, tucked, or minus to 0. It's just probably not going to get KO'd as much as you want it to, and that's unfortunate. You have to see certain matchups like yellow or green, and it's not really affecting lots of cards in green. It will get some good mileage in versus yellow if they decide to do something with it. Otherwise, they might just keep it locked down and unable to untap, and that's a whole nother problem on its own. Next, you have got the Vegito SR, and this card is the exact opposite of the Vegito we talked about. This is very good. 3 cost 25k, 5k combo power, and it says if you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, all battle cards on your opponent's side of the field are reduced by 1. Then when you play him, you're able to tuck a 1 cost from the field to the bottom of the deck, meaning that if you play him and he's like the 8th card in your hand, you go down to 7, or you're just under 7 in general, you are going to be able to bounce tuck a 2-drop from your opponent's field under, and he's going to change the threshold for other moves, allowing you to do things like Final Flash to 6-drop, Sickle to 5-drops. There's a lot that this guy opens the floodgates to, and I think that that is mad worth noting. +3 for 25k, respectable stat. yeah, this guy's actually a house, and he is a very, very annoying to both red and yellow as colors. Then we have the Secret Rare. A lot of people were hating on this. I think that this is a fine card. A Secret Rare with combo power, always nice, but also a 5 cost that can swing for 30k twice after stunning somebody by bouncing a card back to their hand, as long as you don't bounce like a really good come into play effect. Very, very, very nice. I do think this guy is like a 3 of in a lot of blue decks. He just pushes a lot of power, and he's really, really able to get in there and apply pressure. He's part of a very good curve. And I think that right now, blue and yellow have the most clean feeling curves of all time, where you're just like dropping threat after threat after threat after threat, and it just like overwhelms your opponent potentially. Now we have a star of the show, and that is Zeno. This is I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it kind of did. Anywho, you have a 6 cost 20k 10k combo power, so yeah, oh my gosh, this guy's just good. On play, choose all cards in your battle areas other than this card, place them at the bottom of their owner's decks in random order. Blue is getting very, very, very good at just surviving, and surviving to 6 or 5 with the marker, then playing this card to reset the board is amazing, especially against so many decks that commit so much to the board, such as red and yellow, that just build a huge board presence only for Zeno to wipe it down. And then on top of that, he stays up for combo power, or if you don't believe he's going to survive, you can get it in for a neutral leader swing against most leaders except Zamasu and Broly. So yeah, not just Zamasu, but this is just a good card for all blue decks moving forward. And now we're gonna have a quick word from our sponsors and then get back to the second half of the cards. So, usual message, I am sponsored by Mystic TCG, coolest store in Missouri, one of the coolest stores in the United States. They do it all. They sell so many card games, they hold their own events, they hold their own locals, and on top of that, you can go to their Facebook group and talk to Eden, the owner of the company, to sell your singles, sell your collections, sell your prize cards, buy singles, and just seal product and pre-order other seal product and plenty more. If you ever see him at an event for Bandai games or Yu-Gi-Oh, you can always know that you're in for the potential just to gain cash if you have cards that he's looking for. So you can go down in the description, use my link, and bada bing bada boom, get some percentages off your pre-orders or orders. And then if you are above the border in Canada, you can check out G3. They are another store that I like to rep. They have their own events, they have their own locals, and on top of that, they have one of the best teams in Dragon Ball Super Masters to date. So if you live in Canada, you can go down there, check out my code, and even get discounts off your product there. So we got you covered in most places in this continent on this side. So with that being said, I do want to let you guys know that I'm trying to expand plenty of areas in Universe X. If you want to go down in my link tree and maybe head over to my Dragon Ball channel or my gaming channel, right now we are streaming Kingdom Hearts, a full series playthrough, and we are on Rechain of Memories at this very moment. And we're going to be doing more content for both Legends, which is having its anniversary soon, as well as Dokkan, which is having an LR, I think, in about a week or so. Point being, we're doing plenty of things in Universe X, so just always check my community tabs or my Twitter for lots of different posts and updates. Thank you, and let's get back to the cards. So after that whopper that was Zeno, we also have Mai. And Mai is a 1 cost 5k, 10k combo power, which card that says on play, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and reduces cost by 1 for the turn. I kind of like the fact they're doing more manipulation, but I think the blanket effects are actually better than the just one-time offers, because you have to have this card and the card to put it down, and that's just kind of weird at that point. I just think she does a little too little. If she was like once per turn, that would be something different, but even that with her stat line, she'd be kind of hard to keep on the board. So just a little bit of a weird thing. Maybe like a once per turn, and with a Trunks future on board, she can't be removed or something like that. There's just a lot of ways that could have made her better, but just on play, not good enough for me. Now we're going to move over to the extra cards. This, I've never noticed how simple Zamasu's face looks like. He's just literally just chilling with the Ken doll composure. But for real, this is one of the best cards that I saw spoiled in blue for this set. 3 cost extra, activate main, bottom deck anything. Just bottom deck any battle card. And that's so good. Blue desperately needed this, because last set, if you guys tested enough, you guys should have realized that what kept blue from being a good deck wasn't the fact that it couldn't compete with blue or with the red or yellow. It could actually compete very well with red or yellow. The issue was it could not compete with green. It would literally, for the most part, always peter out at the very end, and then Cass had to die because when you drop an 8-drop Broly, you have red being able to minus it down to 0. or minus it down to like 5k, 10k, and then attack it. You have yellow being able to play cards that tap it down. You have green, the mirror, being able to blow it up with like cards like Broly. But that's not blue. Blue just kind of looked at it and was like, well, crap, maybe I'll survive for 1-2 more turns. And now they don't have to. Just rip that 3 energy, bottom deck it, and keep it rolling. And that is what we needed to desperately see this set. Next card, Time Ring, aka the ponder of this game. 1 cost, activate main, look at 3 cards on the top of your deck and place them at the top or bottom of your deck in any order, then draw a card. You're literally just rearranging and then drawing a card. This is kind of nice. It's nice to see in the first couple turns. It may not be the best to see later, but if you're running a hard control deck, this is a good fixer. So I do like this, and I do like how it sets up your cards. However, in this game, when you don't have combo power, you can sometimes put yourself in compromising situations. Next, you've got Blades of Judgment. 1 cost, activate main / battle, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal it to 1 Supreme Kai and special traits, add it to your hand, then place the rest of the bottom of your deck in random order. So this is actually pretty cool. Realistically, this card does just, I don't know why it's actually activate battle. I could not tell you. I don't know why this card is activate battle and activate main, but it is pretty cool that you could keep open energy, and if your opponent doesn't force you to use it on their turn, you could just be like, oh, you're attacking, cool, tap 1, oh, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I'm just searching real quick. But the thing I want to check is if because this is looking for a Supreme Kai card, I do believe, if I am not mistaken, that includes your super combo. That it does. Old Kai is definitely a Supreme Kai. So you can literally pay 1, look at your top 5, and try to grab your super combo. And that actually may be better than expected. That's not bad at all. Now, next card, I love their faces in here. It looks funny. Zamasu looks like a giant baby. But 3 cost, Fusion of Evil Power. You're just placing a Goku Black and a Zamasu from your hand and or battle area, or your battle area at the bottom of your deck, and you draw 2 cards. So you're minusing 3 generally off between the board and this card, and then you're going to draw 2 and then play a Zamasu fused from your hand. I think this card is dog water. You are literally going -2 from hand because you have to play the Zamasu fused with a cost of 4 from your hand. There's only one of them, it's the SR. They'll probably add more later, but you're playing from your hand and you're drawing 2, but you're going -2 to play Zamasu. I'm just going to put it out there, and it's only for 1 less cost. So much setup in a specific deck build for 1 less cost. We're not touching this card. At least I'm not touching this card. If you want to touch this card, or if you think it has some better merits, let me know in the comments. Then you've got Awakening to Super Saiyan Rose. And this is an interesting card. I think it's the first Awakening card that's not really like too pivotal. You know, Awakening Super Saiyan, Awakening to Blue, Awakening Perfect Form, all cool things. But you have a 3 cost, activate main, choose all cards with Earthling and their special traits in the battle areas, return them to the owner's hands, and if you return 2 or more cards, draw 2 cards. This could be interesting because this could be a way to bounce. Like, one issue with the peel-off engine right now is that red is stronger than ever on its -5s and their abundance. Yellow can tap things down easily. There are going to be some things where you could maybe peel off and then tap 3 for Awakening to Super Saiyan Rose, put those peel-offs back in your hand, draw 2 cards. Now, granted, you just use 5 energy to play 2 peel-offs, recur 2 cards, and then bounce them back to your hand and draw 2 cards. So, the more I talked about that, the worse it sounded, because that sounds pretty bad. But this is just not what I was focusing on in terms of the shine of blue. I just think this is interesting. It can bounce your opponents too, so if there's ever like a really strong hybrid Saiyan deck, like eventually we are going to probably get Ultimate Gohan. Eventually, once we get Ultimate Gohan, that's probably going to be in the Buu Saga, and the Buu Saga is going to have Gotens, Trunkses, Gotankses, Gohans, which actually kind of makes me wonder if they're going to put this in blue for Ultimate Gohan in the future, or like a blue Buu, a blue Ultimate Gohan, because that would make a lot of sense, but that's a video for another thing, for speculation, another time. We are now going to move over and we're going to look at Divine Hammer, right? Divine Hammer is very interesting. It's an activate battle that says if you have a Zamasu fused battle card, choose your leader up to 1 of your battle cards. It gains plus 30,000 power for the battle. That's a huge increase. It's probably the biggest increase you've ever seen off of this, and it turns your leader into a 55k if you have a Zamasu fused battle card. However, just note that the only Zamasu fused battle cards at the moment, we have like, what? I think we have another 4-cost. Oh, so there is another 4-cost promo. I forgot about that one. But we have the 4-cost promo. We have this card. Or sorry, we have the 4-cost SR. We have the 5-cost and the 6-cost. So, yeah, and 2 of those are like darn near unplayable. 3 of them are pretty much unplayable. 1 of them is fairly good, the SR. So this is kind of a weird, awkward card to try to use. Now we're going to go back to cards that just kind of sit in this archetype and do Kami's work. First and foremost, you've got Zamasu from set 1. This is just a busted, broken card because it bottom decks 1-drops. Doesn't put them in the trash where they may be able to be accessed. Doesn't bounce on the hand where they can play them again. It actually just straight up tucks them. So yeah, 1 cost, 5k, 10k combo power. You guys should all be familiar with this. It was very popular in the GOku Black decks, but now in this format, early game removal is more important than ever due to Red's ability to snowball out of control if you can't respond to Roshi. So this card's going to come out, bottom deck it, wonderful. Next, you have Pilaf. Pilaf is pretty much one of the backbones of blue. It is more vulnerable now. You are going to be able to use Pilaf to get a 1-cost Earthling from your drop to your hand if you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, and this is one of them he can pick up. He can pick up himself, so you can Pilaf into a 1-drop Earthling. However, this guy is 5k, and like I said, Red is so adept at getting rid of these now that you can't just make a wall of combo power anymore like you could in set 1 for the most part. It's even worse. Red was the bane of this combo, now it's even worse. So we have a little bit of hard times trying to keep the Pilafs healthy. The next card we have is Piccolo. I do put this in here because in this new paradigm, Blue's removal, pretty much its best removal is tied to extra cards, whether it be Sinister Sickle, which we'll talk about soon, or Absolute Lightning. And you could just play a bunch of these cards. I do believe in playing a bunch of them so that you can actually see them, over playing a few of them, seeing them less, and then when you do need more copies, having to play Piccolo and then having to play them. So I just believe playing more copies, but you could always tech in Piccolo for being able to recycle those. Next, I'm going to be showcasing Gotenks because I do think that in these decks, you do have to figure out ways to spring back for advantage. And if you run enough Gotens and Trunkses, you can always play a Gotenks, get those cards back, and then keep it moving from there. So very, very good synergy. And then what we have here is Sinister Sickle. This card has easily become one of the best cards in the game. It's in Blue's top 3, top 4 cards, and it is one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. This does so much work in the mirror. If your opponent's playing a battle card like Focus Strategy, it just tears through yellow and blue boards. The only color it doesn't really affect is green, and that's what you have Absolute Lightning for. So realistically, this card is just monstrous at what it does, and I approve. Like it's just good. Next, you have Gallic Gun. Gallic Gun is actually just a goated card. You're going to pay 1, go up 15, and if you have 7 or fewer cards less in hand, you draw another card. So you play it from 8 and go back up to 8 while boosting up from 15. It's a lot of good on the defense. It's kind of the closest thing we have to a OG super combo from Masters on both the attack and the defense, as long as you meet the conditions. Very good card. And then the last card we have here maybe just be better for the control variants of Blue, but you have Black Kamehameha, which is a defensive extra that you can only use on your opponent's turn. And you're going to go up 20k, and then you're going to search the top 3 cards of your deck, or look at the top 3 cards of your deck, rearrange them in any order, and place them back to make sure your draws are primo. So yeah, those are the cards I feel like could all be wrapped up in the Zamasu archetype. We're going to go to the closing and kind of just talk about how I feel about Zamasu as a whole before ending the video. So to sum it up, I really do think that Zamasu is kind of a weird entity right now. From testing so far, I feel like his backside leaves a bit to be desired, but you really do want to last long enough to play your top end, which should be, your 4-cost Zamasu fuse, your Vegito SCRs. You could run Goku Black. I think that, and we'll get into it in other videos, I think that other blue leaders have better targets for Goku Black, because really in this archetype, because you're not using any of the new Vegetas that came out, your best things are either Vanillas or the new Zamasu SR, and I just don't think those are like game breaking. 25k that draws a card is not putting somebody in the dirt like a 30k that also can play a Bulma, that also can boost your leader, that also can do this, or a 30k that can bring out 30k from the bottom of your deck, things like that. So I do think that we are looking at a leader that tries to slow down the game, but to what avail? Like, what top end? That's the part that I think people need to solve best. What are you doing with this extra time that Zamasu can provide you? And speaking of extra time, you are kind of on a clock, because once you flip, your hand is only dwindling from then on. And if your opponent has critical cards, like Red has the ability to run quite the critical core, you are going to be in for a world of trouble when some of those cards go to the top of your life and then go to your drop. So yeah, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know how you guys feel about Zamasu, if you guys have been testing as well. And like I said, over on the Patreon, I will be showing you guys my my current list and my current plays about it, and my deeper thoughts on my testing list. And then we'll just move on next week into revisiting set 1 leaders that have support. With that being said, look out on the community tabs for the poll to see what leaders should come first next week. And on top of that, look out tomorrow for my how to win sealed video. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Later.